Hi all, how you doing? Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Okay, so I was listening to Leicester on Crypto Talk Radio this morning, um, and he mentioned a couple of things which I want to sort of talk about. So, crypto advocate. So, I believe I'm an advocate for crypto, and he was talking about advocates in terms of people who are trying to support the investors of Blockdag. Okay. Um, And I am trying to do that by highlighting where the red flags are. And I'm basically saying that these red flags need to be sorted out before you should invest any money into this project. And I'm a crypto advocate in terms of I want to protect, I want to protect all investors and I want to highlight the bad projects. Because honestly, I believe, that is something I'm actually pretty good at. Um, and I've pretty much got 100% hit rate. Anything that I've said is a scam has turned out to be a scam. So, you can take that information as you like. The only project which I'm willing to sort of stick my neck out and say I trust in would be Bitcoin. In terms of uh, promoting it anyway. I wouldn't promote anything else. Now, that's not saying I don't have any other kind of other crypto. I do. Okay, but I'm not going to promote it. That is the point. But anyway, Leicester on Crypto Talk Radio talk about advocates for the Blockdag investors, and he mentioned that he was one and I was one, which I believe is true. And people who are investors in Blockdag shouldn't be looking at us as like the enemy. Okay, I'm not your enemy. Okay, I'm far from. I'm basically here to highlight the issues, bring them up. So imagine if you're running a business, you want to point out the shortfalls of that business in order for you to correct those things. You know, it's a bit like, think about the space shuttle. If someone would have piped up and said, you know what, these O-rings, they're weak. Okay, we need to replace them. Okay, then the space shuttle wouldn't have blown up. Okay, it's as simple as that. You point out the problems, solve the problems, and then you've got a good project. Okay. But if you don't solve those problems and you just let them fester, then they just grow into something, and then you've got a space shuttle which blows up, which is quite a good analogy for Blockdags, considering they're always using the space shuttle going to the moon and astronauts and things like that. So, um, is Blockdag basically a space shuttle with dodgy O-rings? Um, anyway, so that was one thing I wanted to talk about that came up from listening to Crypto Talk Radio. Oh yeah, the other thing you mentioned was that he feels that the CEO of the investors, Blockdag investors, Reed Davis, he basically said that he isn't your friend. Okay, so to the Blockdag investors, that Reed isn't really your friend because he calls him a mark all the time because he never criticizes Nick or Lisa, never asks the right kind of questions. And I agree with him on that. Now, Reed's point of view on this is that he doesn't want to rock the boat and he doesn't want to upset them and he wants them back on the show and that kind of thing. Or, back on his channel. I don't think he's really going to call it a show as such, but so he wants them back on the channel to talk about things. But at some point, you've got to ask the difficult questions, and you might as well do it early as do it late. Okay, you might as well get it out of the way because at the end of the day, if it's a proper run business, you want to attack not attack the weak spots. You want to attack. You want to find the problem to those weak points. Okay, and then the project can potentially flourish. So he feels that Reed doesn't do that. So he's feeling that Reed is almost complicit um, he's not asking any difficult questions, and he's just letting them do whatever they want effectively. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out, which I was a bit kind of in shock about when I heard it, was he heard that some people were going on the dark web looking for hitmen, basically, or hit woman, I guess. I don't know. Assassins, if effectively, that if things don't go well, that they're going to take it out on the people who are in charge of the project. So I was like, whoa, that's a bit too much. Okay, that's ridiculous. So if you are, what I'd say is, if you are thinking about doing that, please don't. Okay, we want to see these people in prison. If they've done wrong, let's see them in prison. We don't want them taking the easy way out, as it were. Okay, we want to see them suffer. Okay, and and people want to get their money back off them, so freeze their assets and that kind of thing. That idea is not gonna. It's not a good idea. Okay, and also, I would say it doesn't put crypto in a good light, that kind of thing. It makes it very kind of gangster and the sort of thing that people want to avoid. Okay, so we don't want that at all in this space. So please, if you are thinking about doing something crazy like that, please stop. Give your head a wobble and just stop that. It's ludicrous. Okay. I mean, I get your frustration. Okay, that this project, you know, is is not doing what you think it should be doing. Okay. I totally agree with you on those kind of things. But like I said before, I'm an advocate for crypto. I love crypto of what it could be. Okay. That's the thing. At the moment, I don't like it. There's too much manipulation in it. You only have to look at all the prices and the way the charts just went down to zero and back up again and stuff like that. There's just way too much manipulation. And the whole point of crypto is to help solve problems. Okay, so remember that it's to solve problems. It's not necessarily to make people rich. Okay, but the idea that, from my perspective, you want it to solve problems, which will help with your lifestyle. Okay. There's lots of things that crypto can do, um, but unfortunately, scammers are getting in the way, and that's one of the reasons why I have my channel is to report on scammers. I want to get them out of this. Okay, and that means getting rid of 99% of the people in crypto who are basically scammers, all those programmers and web designers and people behind projects which are just out and out scams. Okay, we need to get them out of this space. Okay, and so when Leister talks about being an advocate for the Blockdag investors, yes, but I'm also a huge advocate for crypto in general. I want it to change society. Um, and there's lots of areas. I mean, there's loads of areas probably that I can't even think about where crypto could help solve a lot of problems. So, yeah, that's my two penneth on on things at the moment. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good rest of your day, and yeah, let's hope things improve because this moment in time, things aren't going that great in the crypto sphere.